Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today I'm going to be announcing my participation in the Nonfiction November readathon, which is a month-long readathon, which is based around reading more nonfiction than you usually do. I myself this year have challenged myself to read a nonfiction a month. I have done that challenge, but also read several other nonfictions on top of those. So the challenge is to read more nonfiction than you usually do, so I've got a decent pile here that I'm excited to dive into. This readathon is hosted by Gemma of Nonfiction Books and Olive of a Book Olive, so I will link their channels down below in the description, and I am excited to dive in. So this has 4 challenges, which are 4 pairs of words. The first one is pastime or pastime, shelf or self, wander or wonder, and micro and macro. So these 4 challenges have been given to us. I'm not sure if I'm going to be getting this properly right in what I'm calling my challenge meets, but we shall see. I'm kind of pushing the envelope here, but we'll go with it. So let's dive in. My first one is a book of wonder, and it is Evicted. This is by Matthew Desmond, and it's Poverty and Profit in the American City, and I am super excited to read this. The idea of discussing poverty and what it is for the American people and how it has changed the housing industry is really interesting to me. I myself am somebody who has only rented in this world, and I am trying to figure out how to make ends meet. It is right now not possible for me to be a single person income and live on my own. So I am living with my mother, and well, technically, it's complicated. I'm living in a lot of different places right now, but my point being, I'm still paying rent, and it's definitely about most of my paycheck. So then we have self and also pastime. So this is A Mother's Reckoning, Living in the Aftermath of Tragedy by Sue Cobold. This is the story of the mother of one of the Columbine shooters. It is told from her perspective after the Columbine shootings, and it is her ideas of what happened and what we could have done to have prevented it. Talks about mental health and help for people who are bullied. I've heard that the kid Dylan, I believe, who ended up shooting up Columbine with his friend, who I think was named Eric, if I'm correct. I'm not sure. I believe that the mother claims that he was bullied, which is partially true, I've heard. I think that he himself bullied some people as well. So there were some hateful feelings bubbling in the surface prior to the shooting. So I'm interested to see what it looks like. I've heard that she kind of passes the blame on to the other boy more so than her own son, which I'm interested to see how that works, because I feel like that's a group effort in that scenario. Then we have another wonder and macro, as in a very large, effective experience, or event, I should say. This is The Road to Jonestown, Jim Jones and People's Temple by Jeff Guin. This is the story of a cult. And I believe it starts with the birth of Jim Jones and continues until he and his followers all poison themselves to escape jail. So I don't know much about it, but I am always interested in cults, and I am very curious to see how this goes and what the story has to offer, and I am very intrigued about that. Then we have Shelf, the newest edition of nonfiction to my shelf. This is YouTube Secrets, the ultimate guide to growing your followings and making money as a video influencer. Sean Cannell and Benji Travis. I follow Benji and his wife on It's Judy Time, and I really like their channel. They've done very well for themselves. They're able to support a family and live off of YouTube as their full income. I believe they do work with different brand reps and things of that nature, and they work alongside a bunch of other people for advertisements and things like that, but they've made it so that their career and job can be YouTube, and I have the will and want to do that myself, but it hasn't happened for me yet. I'm still a smaller channel, but I'm hoping that this will give me some information and some good tips. I'm not gonna, classify this as some sort of Bible-ish feeling that I'm gonna follow word for word. I just want to get some tips and tricks for the industry. Then we have Self, which is, and we could also say micro, which would be interesting. This is a story about anorexia. This is Unbearable Lightness by Portia de Rossi. This is going to be interesting, and I believe it's about her story and trials and tribulations with anorexia while working as an actress in Hollywood. I am really, really intrigued by this. I believe I read it a couple years ago, but that's before I kind of came to my own realization of my relationship with food, and that kind of changed how I feel about this book, so I'm really curious to see how I'll feel about it now. It's going to be really interesting and sort of sad. It's a story of loss and gain. I know a lot of this revolves around weight, but also her experience in life, so we shall see how that goes. Then another Self. I have a lot of selves. This is Carrie Fisher, Wishful Drinking. This is the Carrie Fisher memoir that I haven't read yet. I read The Princess Diarist, but I have not read this one, and I am really curious about it. I believe it talks about her bipolar experience and her experience growing up with a famous mother and how that goes about, and I'm really intrigued to see how this goes and read it and get a little bit more into Carrie Fisher's mind, as I really respect her and adore her, and I am excited to dive in and see more about that. Then we have another Self, which is Shirley Jackson, author of Rising Demons, Life Among the Savages. This is Shirley Jackson's other nonfiction book. I read her other one already, and I believe this is actually the first one, not the second one, and I think I read them out of order, which is fine. It's her talking about her family and her life and her experience, and it's just Shirley Jackson, and I'm trying to read all of her works by the end of the year. I think I have 3 books left. I'm going to be reading 2 of them this month, and I'm very excited to dive into that. Then I have a couple of audiobooks that I'm going to dive into. The first one is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life by Eric Idle. That is a new release that I picked up, and I think that one would be a wonder for me, as I have always enjoyed Monty Python's Flying Circus and Monty Python in general and their experience, and I'm really excited to hear more in-depth conversations about their story. Believe Me by Eddie Izzard is a memoir, and that's a Self. This is going to be the memoir of Eddie Izzard, who is a comedian that I find very funny, and I'm excited to dive into. And then the last one is Heavy by Kesey Lehman, and this is going to be macro, I guess. It is a more masculine conversation similar to Hunger by Roxane Gay, and I am very excited to dive into this. I will also be listening to Michelle Obama's book on audiobook when it is released, which I believe is November 13th or 14th, so I have that on pre-order as well. And Heavy and Michelle Obama's book I should be getting in hardcover sometime this month, so I'm very excited about that. I am looking forward to diving into nonfiction November. I will be reading other fiction books beside it. and kind of going through that. So I may not get to all of these nonfictions, but I hope to. I read pretty quickly and I have a lot of time to read, at least during the weekdays. So I end up reading fairly fast, but nonfictions take me a little longer. So we'll see how I do. I am very grateful that you guys are watching. Thank you so much. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, click that subscribe button down below. And if you are not receiving notifications that I am posting videos, click that little bell button in the corner and that will notify you when I post. I will talk to you in the comments and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.